All right, so on to day 125, going through my old journal, and the quote says, "Worry doesn't empty tomorrow of its sorrow, it empties today of its strength." Write 10 things you can do when you start to worry. So, if you want to write down 10 things you can do when you start to worry, I feel like I probably didn't do that, but let's see what I wrote. And this kind of goes along with what I was talking about yesterday. Like, I don't think too hard about things usually. So I said, I feel like I worry less than most people, and often when I do worry, there has been a reason to worry. I don't know what that means. But overall, if a situation is out of my hands, I don't really worry. But if I'm worried about something and there's something I can do about it, I will do that. Let's see. I said, for instance, there was a time that I would worry about my kittens while I was away from them. So I mentioned that I used to foster kittens quite a bit. And yeah, like if I was like out of town for work, if I had to leave town or whatever, I would get really worried about them. And yeah, like there was like a couple times that I would like go stay with a friend out of town just for like a night or two. And there was like one night, sometimes I don't worry as much, but then again, I think it goes along with my hormone cycle. There's other times where I'm more conducive to worrying about things and like overthinking things. And so yeah, there was one night I was staying with my friend and it was like 8 or 9 o'clock and I was just like so worried about the kittens. I was like, did I leave them enough food, or like what if something happens? And I just found myself worrying about them, and so I just went home. And so like that's what I could do to stop worrying, so I did it. And I said after a few instances of doing that and finding them safe, I stopped worrying as much. So I guess my strategy is either stop worrying or do something about it. This is one reason I'm trying so hard to get on track with work and school, because otherwise I'm constantly worried about finishing assignments or meeting deadlines. I would say, I think part of my problem with that is that I wouldn't worry as much as I needed to. I was also good most of the time at kind of like putting it out of my mind. Like, even though I knew that I had like assignments and deadlines due, I would just kind of like put it to the back of my mind. There would be like an underlying worry. But again, for like 3 weeks out of the month, I could just kind of put it out of my mind and not worry about it. But then it would hit that one week where I don't know if my hormones or whatever would like make me more conducive to like being stressed. And then I would like really be stressed about it. But yeah, I said, unfortunately, okay, yeah. So with work or school, I said, unfortunately, doing something about it isn't as easy as coming home. I said, it's taken a lot of work and effort to not be stressed and worried, but I know it will pay off. It has to. I'm so tired of being stressed and anxious all the time. So I must have been like stressed and anxious during this time. There's always the option to quit, I suppose, but I worry that would bring more worry. So I don't know. And yeah, there was definitely, like, I don't consider myself a quitter. I tend to like, especially if something has like an endpoint that I could see. So like a class at the end of the semester, I'm typically able to like get myself to stick it out. But yeah, there was definitely a few times over the last few years that I was just like, why am I doing this? I can just quit and like I won't have to worry about any of this anymore. And I almost did this last fall that I keep bringing up, that I was just so overwhelmed. Like I sent an email to my boss and I was just like, I'm sorry, I can't meet today. I'm just not feeling well. And like, no, that was a different, it's a different time. There was like 2 times. But yeah, I was just basically like, look, I'm going to fail this class and I just don't know if this is for me, and I'm not going to quit on you, but I'm just letting you know, like, if things don't get better this next semester, like, I might be moving on. Like, we might need to be thinking of something else. So I wasn't going to like just quit on her, but I was just kind of letting her know, like, hey, this stuff is getting too much for me. Like, something's got to change. And thankfully I have a great boss, and she kind of helped me figure things out with my class, and figure things out with work, and now I'm doing really well. I'm doing way better. But yeah, I think sometimes that was something to do about it, and I just hadn't done it. Like, I just tried to take everything on myself and just try to push through it, but it did help to talk to her about it. And thankfully I had a boss that was understanding and would help me with that. I know that's not the case for a lot of people, so maybe in those cases the best thing to do could be to quit. But yeah, for the most part, for most things, I don't tend to worry too much about it. And if I do, I try to do something about it. If there's nothing I can do, then I try not to worry about it. So anyway, I didn't write a list of 10 things. But I guess that's typically what I do. So I don't know. But yeah, like, if there's something that's totally out of your control, there's no point in worrying about it, because there's nothing you can do about it. If it's something you have to wait and see on, you just have to wait and see. So if it's like waiting for a call back on a job, or I don't know, waiting to hear some news about something, like, don't sit around and worry. Just do whatever, and what's gonna happen is gonna happen. So anyway, that's what I have for that day. I will be back tomorrow with day 126.